Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Louise Stevens. I'm one of the adult weight management practitioners here at OneLife Suffolk. We just wanted to put a short recording together on habits for you because habits really do play a large role in our day-to-day lives, from what we say, what we do, what we think and what we feel, and they influence the level of success and happiness that we feel that we've got in our lives. So we're all familiar with those habits that support us and those habits that we know we would benefit from losing. The disadvantages clearly outweigh the advantages. So I'm going to be talking about why we form habits and why they're so difficult to break. But more importantly, I'm going to be giving you some tips on how to actually break and make new habits. Habits are behaviours that are practiced and repeated over a long period of time. So habits take a while to form and therefore take a while to break too. The great thing about habits is that we weren't born with them. So we just need to stop, raise our self-awareness and see what's happening. So when we can see it, we don't have to be it. Acknowledging this can be so empowering and can help us feel good about choosing to take care of ourselves. It's easier to change a habit when we're clear about why we're wanting and needing to make that change. There's something referred to as a habit loop, and I think it's quite helpful to just understand this because it helps us see why we continue doing things that sometimes we might think aren't particularly helpful, and it can also help us in the creation of new habits. The habit loop consists of three things. There's the cue, the trigger that leads to a behaviour of routine, and then there's a reward for doing that. So if I give you an example, you've had that late night, you've gone into work feeling tired and you've had a really busy day with lots of problems, and it meant that you weren't able to have a proper lunch. So you've walked through the door in the evening feeling tired and hungry. So tiredness and hunger are the two cues there that leads to the behaviour. And we're also familiar with opening the fridge door, looking for something quick and convenient. So we grab a chunk of cheese, cherry tomato and the leftover sausages from the night before. That might not be enough, so we put the kettle on, grab a beer, packet of biscuits, whatever takes your fancy, and we sit down for a little while. So the reward is that we've rested a little bit and we're less hungry. So then we're then able to then get on with making a proper dinner. The downside of that is that we've actually consumed more calories than we wanted to. So we've had all those extras and had our evening meal. So we might sort of become conscious of that and decide we want to do something about it. But the reward of feeling less hungry and less tired, they're the things that keep us continuing with these habits that we know are particularly unhelpful. I'd like you to consider which areas of your life you'd benefit from change and which habits you would like to have moving forward. Now that we're clear about what we want and need and the intention is there, plus the added bonus of the passion that's going to keep us fired up for change, we're now ready to prepare for that change. Let's be specific. How are you going to make these new wanted habits? The habits don't change by themselves, so they take a little thought. Put some of those thoughts down on a piece of paper, have a conversation, just get some clear direction. If you want to cross a grassy field, the easiest way would be to use the path you always have because it's well trodden. There may be a different, more direct route, but at first it would be hard because you would have to cut down the grass. In time, however, the new path will become worn down and easier to follow, and that's exactly how habits work. It will certainly be helpful to you if you can acknowledge and accept that habit breaking isn't plain sailing and worth the effort initially. Now, I've got 4 tricks that will just help you along the way. Sometimes when we make new habits, they're hard to remember. So the first one is to make it obvious. You could put the herbal tea by the kettle. At other times, it may be difficult to get started, so you'll need to make it attractive. Maybe give that friend a call and arrange to go for a walk. There might be times where you feel it's just too difficult, so you'll need to make it easy, like putting the trainers out the night before. Occasionally you might find it's hard to stick to, so you need to make it satisfying. And for me, I might turn to a pleasurable food that I know is healthy, something like pancakes made out of egg, banana and some dried oats. I mentioned earlier about the habit loop, which consists of a cue which leads to a routine behaviour, which then leads to a reward, and the reward being the thing that actually helps us to keep repeating that habit. So if we just look at what I've just been talking about, the cue in this case would be the bit that makes it obvious, attractive, easy and satisfying. The behaviours are things like the arranging to go for a walk with a friend, and then the reward would be that you feel good for feeling energised and for meeting up and having some company. Now, to break a habit, we need to do the opposite of what I've just suggested to support you with making habits. So instead of making it obvious, we need to make it invisible. Instead of making it attractive, it needs to be unattractive. And instead of easy, it needs to be hard and unsatisfying instead of satisfying. It takes approximately 4 weeks to create a habit. So practice, repeat, and for it to become second nature and more of a lifestyle change to us, it probably takes about 3 months plus for this to happen. There definitely will be slip-ups along the way, and I just want to help you normalise those because it is part of being human. We all slip up, and it's what we do at those moments in time as to how quickly we progress and whether we keep on track or not. To keep going, we must value the importance of creating the habit change and keeping it as a priority. Having some trust and faith that the work that we're putting in isn't being wasted, it's actually being stored. I just want to give you an example in connection with bamboo. I thought it was quite a good metaphor, so I'm just going to read it out. Bamboo can rarely be seen for the first 5 years as it builds extensive root systems underground before exploding 90 foot in the air within 6 weeks.